Hello guys, you're watching Go.2 and today we're going to talk about Skyfall Part 2 and there will be spoilers. Oh my god, so yeah, I'm sorry, I'm going to skip to the ending just a bit. Gallifrey is destroyed. What? I mean, there are certain parallels like the Doctor who could never destroy his own planet and the Master who did destroy his own home planet. Obviously we believe that the Doctor did long before the time. Yeah, the Doctor. But there's quite some parallels there between the two, how they actually drifted off. We always talk about the Master drifting off in two different directions, one to conquer and destroy, and then the Doctor who wants to view and see all and all that. Oh my god, I just can't believe it. Obviously I'm putting pictures on the screen of Gallifrey destroyed. I can't believe it. Chris Chibnall, he's destroyed UNIT, he's destroyed Gallifrey. I can't believe this. Obviously, we saw Gallifrey last in Hell Bent, and it was alive. It was in a pocket dimension universe thing. Is this all a trick? Oh my god, the Timeless Child was actually a tease from Series 11 as well. And just after that little flashback to that time, we saw a little flashback of something else. And I'm going to, after this video, I'm going to put the picture on the screen if I can, but it was very brief, it was a glimpse, it was something as in, it was really quick, and I don't think we've seen that scene before, and I think that's a future scene to see, and everything was a lie. We thought it was something else, and it was so big and scaled. I can't believe this. Obviously, I'm going to talk about the companions and them in this story later on. I just want to get to this ending and just say I'm so shook. Personally, I thought this episode was average. I really enjoyed part 1, as you can tell. Also, part 1 I'm going to give an 8 out of 10. Well, I was going to give a 9 out of 10, but I rewatched it and I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. This episode deserves an 8 as well, but without the hype. So overall, as a two-parter, I'm giving this an 8 out of 10 as overall. So it's just an 8 all around score-wise. But yeah, I preferred part 1. I just really enjoyed the James Bond aspect and that focus. And of course, when they did do the plane sequence and the plane crashing down, and when Jodie popped up on screen, I was like, right, she's in the past. She's going to change something in the past to save them from the future. Typical Doctor Who. And yeah, it works. I mean, I thought the TARDIS, she'd get in the TARDIS and do that. Also, talking about the TARDIS, where's the Master's TARDIS? Jodie Whittaker's had the Master's TARDIS last, so she knows where she put it, which we never got answers to. We never got answers about how the Doctor escaped, which I'm totally fine with. I know people hissy fit over, oh, where is he? Which period? Which time period? Which Doctor? Which verse? And yeah, it don't really matter. It's Doctor Who. The answer is because he can. It's the Master, and also the version of the Master. I mean, we still don't know, other than Professor Yana, and then it was John Sim. We don't know who came next. We don't know if it was Michelle Gomez, or we don't know whether it was this Master. And talk about the Master, I'm just going to put a little screen up of, he was in Stephen Moffat's story. I wonder if Stephen Moffat knew if he was the Master back then in Dracula, which is an amazing drama and you should totally check it out. Stephen Moffat and Mark Gatiss do a wonderful job. And of course, they've been in Doctor Who and written Doctor Who and all that sort of jazz. So check that out. And it's got the Master in it in a different performance. And he did wonderfully well in episode 2. Also, back to Doctor Who, sorry. I just can't believe the ending. Gallifrey. I thought, oh, they're not going to show us and Jodie's just in shock. But come on, we've got to have this as the finale. And I wonder if it's a Cyberman. I think the Cybermen should be I wonder if the Cybermen will be the main villain and help Master destroy Gallifrey. And of course, Jodie Whittaker's got to go back in time and stop the Master from destroying it. Come on, it's got to happen. And I want to see the Master destroy Gallifrey. I want to see this revenge. The whole of it is just in burn and ruins. I mean, even the Daleks couldn't do that. So I'd love it if the Cybermen teamed up in the finale and we see the new version of the Cybermen. And then it leads into the Master controlling the Cybermen and them going off to destroy Gallifrey. and we see a massive thing of the Doctor trying to stop that happening. That would be such a good idea. But I'm just keep going back to the finale. Focus, Connell. Right. I want to also point out, I loved that the companions started to realise, we don't know who the Doctor is. Hang on. We've been travelling all this time. They're on the wanted posters linking back to Series 3 with John Sim wanting the 10th Doctor, Martha and Captain Jack. And now we get the same with Graham, Ryan and Yaz. They're wanted. It just looks a bit more cheesier. And it reminded me of Spider-Man Far From Home as well, that little cliffhanger. Wanted. Everyone knows who they are. They're taking pictures and stuff. And I loved what they didn't do in Resolution. They obviously listened from the fans. Resolution, we could have Yaz family with the internet shutting down, and we had that here. Also, the guy who was shooting at them in part 1 on the bike scene, he reminded me, who obviously controlled the internet, reminded me a bit of Sarah Jane Adventures. We had an episode in Sarah Jane Adventures, one of her last stories, in fact. I think it is the last story, to be fair. I think it is. And they had the internet on these tablets in the Sarah Jane Adventures. It's called the Surfboard or whatever. If you know what I'm on about, comment down below. But it reminded me of that in the bit where his presentation is and all that. And I also loved it kind of reminded me of the Doomsday Clock as well from Series 10 with the Mummy, the Monk trilogy, with the 3 minutes to humanity die. Little bit of references or little bit of used past knowledge, which I loved from with this episode. Of course, my mind went, what? When the Master turned up and started shooting people, which a lot of classic Doctor Who fans are going to love, with that turning people into little people. And yeah, obviously they turned into little toys. I'd loved it if they started moving around little. I mean, we've got the CGI to do that budget, but either way, they turned into like little toys in a way. It was a bit, I would have loved them to like, oh, now we're little, run away, sort of thing. The Master was obviously menacing and didn't give a damn, and it shows because he later on destroyed Gallifrey. I can't get that out of my head. I'm going to have to bin watch the ending, and I'm going to do a video. I know I said I wouldn't do any more. I did a video a couple of days ago on what I think will happen in part 2 of Skyfall. Completely wrong, and I had some ideas about the Master. I'm going to do a video on what I think happened to Gallifrey and what about the Timeless Child. I'm going to do a video on that. I hope the rumours aren't true that the Doctor was all 13 lives as a woman or whatever in the Radio Times or the Sun newspapers. I hope that's a lie. And focusing back on this episode, the monsters, these glowing creatures, we never got to see the actual look like of these creatures. We just got to see this glow, which I'm a bit like, I wanted to see that, to be fair. And the creatures were quite menacing. I mean, they were in this hardly as much. And I thought we would get to see them a lot more. And they're like gateways, and we get to see their realm, is it? Where they live, where they are. These little weird things are put on the screen, no doubt. And yeah, I really enjoyed this in a way. It was quite... I didn't enjoy it as much as part 1, but there you go. Apart from the ending, of course, where I was sitting here watching it and going, what? In Gallifrey, and I suddenly jumped up and started going, that was my reaction to Gallifrey, and I was like, oh, this reminds me of Series 8. But then I thought, they're not going to show it, and if he does appear, if Jodie Whittaker lands on Gallifrey, it's going to be a lie. I mean, the Master lied about where Gallifrey was before, and I would love it if it weren't this version of the Master that killed it. I'd love it if John Sim knew. I'd love it if he was the one that took the form, got the drums out of his head, destroyed Gallifrey after finding this out, and going with the 12th Doctor and Michelle Gomez and fighting Simon and the Doctor Falls. I'd love that if he did it. That would be incredible and crazy as well. I just want more John Sim. I mean, who wouldn't? Yeah, the drum beat with the little taps, a personal message. I love that little touch. Yet again, linking back to the David Tennant era, and that was such an amazing linking. Chris Chibnall did a wonderful job. I love this two-parter as a whole. I mean, if we separate them, I love the first part incredibly more. But yeah, I think this is a solid story, and Yet again in the third episode, is it coming up? Jodie Whittaker looks a lot more happy and go lucky, which is a bit sad. I want to see a darker side to Jodie now she knows her planet's destroyed. Yet again, getting that Last of the Time Lord's rebelness from the Ninth Doctor, the angriness he's lost his planet again. I'd love that with Jodie and both Northern to do that. What else? Yes, just constantly going back to that Gallifrey in my head now. I love the setting where the Master's coming along and he's getting blown up by these women with these old medieval. I don't know what time period it is. I've completely forgot. I'm not good with dates. Yes, the Master's is getting destroyed, and then yet again he loses. He has this man. I can't speak. He has this. As always, classic Doctors. The communication, which links back to the five Doctors, where the Doctor was communicating with all the four Doctors that were there, linking in with the classic Doctor story. I love that little reference where the Master and the Doctor communicating in their heads, which is why they're saying it out loud. I know they could do a montage in their head or whatever, but anyway, just hissy fitting over that. Didn't find it interesting them hiding under the floorboards. Yeah, all right. And the Master shooting with the men and then walking off. What was that all about? Graham with his shoe. And he's shooting these gadgets. I love the spy. Can they keep the spy gadget stuff? And Graham with the gun again with his shoe. I absolutely love that. Bradley Walsh was on point, isn't he? He was classic fun, and he knew to hide the companions. He knew where to go, which was interesting. Did I miss something other than him being a bus driver? Was he a builder or something? How did he know where to hide? I love Yaz's family in this. I think they're playing a vital part throughout Series 12, which they should have done in Series 11. Yet again, Chris Chibnall on it. Then we got Ryan with his, just basically, he was just there really, and he did some stuff, and yeah, I do like Ryan, but he didn't have a lot more to do in this. Yaz is getting more of his spotlight from Series 11, I guess. I loved the Doctor in these different time periods trying to get home, and then of course her going back in time to save the airplane that was going there. You know, her saving that, doing that fixing thing at the end was obvious and a quick montage, and dropping off her time period companion who has something to do with computers later on, and her time period secret agent, which links in with Spyfall yet again, linking in. And this spy theme was still there, and that was my worry, that it was going to be like a Stephen Moffat, where you had the Monk trilogy. I'm just using that as an example, where each 3 episodes were completely different tones, and the Doctor Falls and the Wilderness and Time, them tones were completely different. I thought Chris Chibnall would do the same with the tones of the episode will be completely different. It was kind of the same tone, which I loved. So you could have this as a movie if you wanted, play it back to back, and it would feel in sync, which is brilliant. The Master trying to kill the Doctor, though, although he never did it, we've never had that. The Master never tries to kill the Doctor. He just tries to impress. He wants to perform in front of her and rule as the Master. And yet again, him two-timing and scheming, and Germany and England, trickery. And I love in the Master in this get-up of the German, and then the German soldiers come after him because the Doctor's fooled his plan quite easily and quickly. Was quite interesting, and the time period using the phone was quite interesting. We never really got that before. There's so much to talk about, so many plots, so many different things, and yeah, I really enjoyed that. And then the Master getting back to, he's lived all this whole long life to get back. He didn't have a TARDIS. Jodie Whittaker stole his TARDIS, so he had to get captured in all these time periods for the 21st century. He's had to live through all that, and it reminded me of a Stephen Moffat. Yet again, these things reminded me constantly. Reminded me of a Stephen Moffat sketch. It was Red Nose Day sketch, or A Children in Need, and it had Rowan Atkinson as the Doctor, and we had these, oh, you're a woman now, Doctor, and you're this Doctor, and he kept on regenerating. It was a comedy. It's not a real Doctor Who story, but it was a Mickey take on Doctor Who, and Rowan Atkinson was in it, and he was the Doctor for a bit, and it reminded me of the Master falling down these sewers and getting back up, 1,000 years I've been trapped in here, Doctor, and then falls down the sewer again, and another 1,000 goes and goes. It reminded me of that, the Master living through, and then I paid for the artifact first, sort of thing. And then the Doctor was like, no, I did. And it reminded me of that because the Doctor was one step ahead of the Master, fooling his plans once he set his plan to work. And the humans getting connected with the Wi-Fi was quite interesting as well. So yeah, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to go on. But I'm going to stop rambling now. There's a lot of things that it's reminded me of past Doctor Who, which some of you obviously know and love. But the Rowan Atkinson and the comedy and the red nose thing, I don't think you'll understand. Some people won't understand that, so I'm going to stop talking about that. It reminded me of that episode, that little sketch. Yeah, just Gallifrey. I'm going to do a video on it. I'm going to do my video, The Timeless Child. I may do a video on it tomorrow, I think. I'm back in college the day after, so it will be tomorrow. I'll do a video on that. And it may come out on Tuesday or Wednesday. Maybe tomorrow I might release it. But I'm definitely going to film that video tomorrow. So stick around for Go Doctor Who. I'm going to review every series. I'm going to review constant throughout. I'm going to review every episode, and then we're going to talk about the series as a whole. Hopefully we get the Timeless Child, or maybe it might be a whole Silence Will Fall thing with the 11th Doctor, where Jodie's run will be the Timeless Child. So maybe we will find out in series 13. Hopefully not, but maybe it would be a good character arc to go down. So see you guys for my review on episode 3 when that comes out next Sunday. It will be out there ready for you to watch when after the episode's there. I'm not making much sense, but I will be reviewing episode 3. Stick around for that, and I'll be doing a video on my opinions on how Gallifrey got destroyed. What is the Timeless Child? Stick around, comment, rate, subscribe, get that little bell. And what did you think about the episode? There's a lot to discuss, and I'll see you guys very soon. You've been watching Go Doctor Who.